Lesson 3. I hope that you are enjoying it so far. Now, lesson 3 is we need to calm our nervous system in order to really heal. But how? It's a stressful world out there. How can we support our bodies with the minerals, the tissue salts, and how does it actually all work? So we have covered salt. So what can we do with the salt? We can introduce it into our water slowly. Good quality salt, Himalayan or a good sea salt. You've got to be careful of a salt flush. There is such a thing. So if you put too much in, you can experience a opening of the bowels because you're hydrating the bowel. Just go careful. I sprinkle quite a lot of it onto my meals, each meal. It's how I get my salt. I don't actually have it in my water. I used to. It does definitely help you sleep. You will need to get potassium from your foods because the potassium counteracts the toxic effects of the sodium. So Dr. Berg talks about having 4 times as much potassium as salt. And we do need a teaspoon of salt for every, I think, half an hour or an hour that we're sweating. There's a book called The Salt Fix. I highly recommend that book because that gives you a lot more information on salt and how it is actually good for us and how much to have. So I'm not here to give any medical advice, I'm just here to inform you as to what I have discovered and how it could help other people. So I did test the water here at Waiwera just to see what the levels were. It's still high with the sodium content, it's still got potassium, it's got magnesium in it and the silica and there's the iron. Iron is very important for the ferrum phos, one of the tissue salts. It's what it's called, the iron one. It's incredibly important. If we don't have that one or if we're low in it, it actually messes up all of the other ones with the chain reactions. It's needed for all of the other ones to work. Again, that facial diagnosis of tissue cell salt deficiencies is an amazing book. The other thing for fatigue is the vitamin B12. I don't cover that here in this course, but in the form of chelated cobalt, which is the active form of B12. Probably nobody's ever told you that, but if you do a hair mineral analysis test, you can discover what your levels of cobalt are, and they are very, very important for your health. So I did mention at the beginning that there was vitamins as well that's needed. Vitamin B12 in the active form of cobalt is key. It's also found in nettle tea, but nettle tea is a diuretic, so just be careful with that because you can lose what we're talking about here. So we need to relax. Back onto the slide. One of the key steps to heal the physical body is relaxation. The nervous system relaxes in the water at Waiwera due to the properties of the sulfur, potassium, magnesium and calcium. They're all calming minerals. The ill health is also a result of our nervous system in distress. So stress. Energy is the key to healing, and I was blown away when I discovered that the sulfur is the mineral power for our body's electrical supply. I'm going to say that again because that, if you only take away one thing from this whole course, that sulfur is the mineral power for your body's electrical supply, you will have a huge big insight into why we don't have enough energy because we don't have the electrical supply for our nervous system, for our bodies to function because we're low in sulfur. Some people can be intolerant to sulfur, and I don't go into the details in this course as to how to rectify that problem, but molybdenum is one of the things that may help with that. But this isn't medical advice, and I'm not going to go any further on that subject. To heal our nervous system, it's also providing the body with oxygen, and the water at Waiwera contains it because it smells very eggy and sulfury. So if we turn to page 177 and read through to page 180 of the Abundant Healing book, they are linked down in the description box. The calcium is very important in our hormone process. It's very calming as well. It's involved in the synthesis of steroid hormones such as cortisol and aldosterone in the adrenal cortex by activating enzymes. So calcium has been shown to be present in the waters at Waiwera and is a calming mineral. So very key, 1,000 milligrams of calcium, not medical advice, but I don't think many of us get that amount of calcium. I have found rhubarb is not actually a fruit, it's a vegetable, and it actually has really good high levels of calcium and potassium. So I'd also be careful on the amount of cheese, because cheese does seem to impact the hormonal system. So just do some more research yourselves into the calcium, but I'm just here to tell you that calcium is very calming and it can really help you with the sleep and the anxiety. So just reiterating, if you wanted to go down that track, this is kind of what they look like. You can order them from Similium in Wellington here in New Zealand, and their details will be in the description below. So Elliot Overton, he's an amazing naturopath in the UK. He has discovered thiamine in the form of TTFD, and it's actually derived from garlic. If you can't get access to this water, contains the sulfur, so very healing having the garlic, not just for its antibacterial properties and all of those things, but yeah, for the sulfur. That was a huge big takeaway as well from the book that I wrote, Abundant Healing, the journey that I was on. If you want to look up Elliot Overton on YouTube, he has some amazing stories of testimonies of people who have gone through his protocol and have really made miraculous healing. He also uses other vitamins to complement his thiamine protocol. I'd just say with that thiamine that it is quite expensive if you buy it from the Australian place that's the wholesaler. So that's why I've got quite a few bottles here. If anybody wants it, let me know. So Waiwera compared to the top thermal springs in the world. The water at Waiwera was tested in 1875 and was compared to the top thermal springs in the world, and one in Germany called Aix-la-Chapelle. And this is the website. It's got some quotes here about the water. A real jewel, the original thermal water, dissipates tensions and will bathe you in a short time in a feeling of pure well-being. And the pages that follow just have further testimonials about the water here at Waiwera. And we just talk about inflammation a little bit more. So from this lesson, just key to know: relaxation, garlic, sulfur, calcium. So invalids with neuralgia, the water was helping invalids with neuralgia and rheumatism. Neuralgia is pain and the disturbance of a nerve or nerves, hence the high levels of sulfur helping the nerves, the electrical supply. Relaxing our nervous system is important when healing our bodies. Again, the heat from the water can do that too, as well as the sulfur and the calcium and the other minerals. A little bit of a conclusion that I drew from the book that I wrote, Abundant Healing, that 95% of our neurotransmitters are produced in the gut. Inflammation messes up the communication, and I think that there'll be quite a few people who have inflammation in the gut. I can't say that for certain because I haven't actually looked myself, but judging from the symptoms that people experience, like irritable bowel syndrome and things like that, then my guess would be that there is the inflammation there in whatever capacity. So on page 148, I talk about inflammation in the book. It is one of the main underlying causes of disease. So it can mess up the communication process of the neurotransmitters and receptors. So the water's been shown to reduce this rheumatoid arthritis, which is a condition of inflammation. And could it help with the inflammation in our gut and therefore helps with our neurotransmitters? These are just question marks that I have. Possibly it could. After the age of 40, our stomach acid does decline and we lack nutrients from digestion. So we can bypass the gut and get the nutrients directly into our bloodstream by soaking in the water. If you want to learn about if you've got digestion issues, I have discovered a exercise 2 minutes a day that really helps with digestion, and that will be linked down in the description box. It's to do with the fascia. You can stretch your head like you're being pulled up, and you pull the shoulders down, and you move your hips, and you row like on a rowboat. and you go on your tippy toes, and you do that for a bit, and you become like a dancer, and you're stretching the whole time this back of this neck. The back of this neck here is very important. Upper neck instability is a big issue for illness as well. It helped with my digestion, so I'm going to share that down in the description. And you can bounce like a pogo stick on the tips of your toes, and that really helps with the fascia and getting the lymphatic system moving. Also known as rebounding, but I've thought of rebounding as being on a trampoline, but this is actually just using the balls of your feet, and you don't need a trampoline, and it's really effective. So I'll go back to the slide here, curing rheumatoid arthritis. What I like to do is just give some testimonials from the past, because it really brings this healing water to life again. People had healing from a range of ailments in the late 1800s using the hot water at Waiwera. Why does it help? I believe the high levels of sodium and potassium enable the body to keep or help regulate calcium out of the tissues. So they all work synergetically together, these minerals, tissue salts. It's amazing. To the old settlers about the adjacent settlements, their value has long been known, especially for rheumatic affections. More than 16 years ago in 1859, at which time the only accommodation near the springs was a small bush public house. A bath could only be obtained by digging a hole in the sand on the beach into which the water flowed, and the bather laying down in it stopped in it till the sand gradually filled in under him and left him lying on the beach again. The writer recollects an Australian miner, completely crippled with rheumatism, scarce having the use of even his hands, spending some 3 months at Waiwera and leaving as hale and sound as he ever was in his life. And that was an extract from the Auckland Echo on July the 20th, 1875. To Robert Graham at the Hot Springs, suffering from paralytic stroke, my right leg and arm being comparatively useless, I commenced bathing at the springs on the 6th instruction. I took a bath of about 20 minutes duration every morning and evening, and after each remained for 1 or 2 hours covered in blankets. After the first 3 days, a great improvement was noticeable, and on the 18th I was convalescent. So that was from Mr. Sweeney, Ashburton, Canterbury in 1878. To R. Graham. I left England for New Zealand in the year 1851. During the voyage out, I was attacked by rheumatic gout. I was so ill that I could not walk and had to be carried from the boat. After 10 days at the Springs, I was able to take part in a cricket match the day after my return to Auckland. During my stay at Waiwera, I remember a lady by the name of Fiddle come down there. Her case was much worse than mine, for she had lost the use of her limbs. I used to see her carried on a litter to the baths. After a few weeks' stay at the Springs, I met her walking about Auckland, and nobody would have known that she had ever been ill. East Tamaki in April 1878. So why is the water so healing? The high levels of sulfur, minerals and cell salts. A picture in my book on page 25, Abundant Healing. We are light beings, we are energy, we need these minerals. The image here shows how the river has iron, copper and zinc on the banks. So then those minerals are not covered here in this course, but just so you know, zinc is very important for us, copper as well. In the right ratios, you can get copper from dehydrated liver supplements or eating liver. Zinc, you can get that from a guava extract, dehydrated again. I've had very good results from those two things. The sulfur in the water obviously is for our electrical supply, our light, and the rays of the sun and the movement of the water created light orbs. So this was a visual from a program I watched where they were talking about the rivers, and one river had the orbs, the other river didn't, and what they found was that the river that had the orbs had the minerals on the side of the bank, which was the iron, copper and the zinc.